Alex Steiner, 3385. This is Jason within the Simpademic, and this episode is for you. And I will say that looks to me like the haters have boosted me in the algorithm, because now we're getting a lot, and I'm getting some people who are also snapping back with their own comments in my pages here, saying that, hey, how the hell did this crap get my algorithm? Well, you have to ask YouTube that question. Ask Google, see what they say. If you find out, let me know. Again in the comments. That'd be really a real trip if you could. And let me know how you, what kind of answer they gave you. I'd be interested to know. But Alex Steiner 3385 came into my previous video episode and commented that, you might want to get off the couch. She's not going to drop into your life with you just sitting there with a Diet Mountain Dew in the background. And to that I responded, you don't really know me. Again, I have had a doxer and stalker before, and it turns out I'm actually capable of making those people's lives quite miserable. Let's just say I have my ways, and I know how to fight back against people that are trying to do me harm. And in case you didn't know before I said doxing is when somebody puts your address or physical location information into a post and broadcasts it on, in this case, Twitter X. So I can make people who threaten me that in that way very miserable. However, people who just post, shit-talking posts just to post them, I just say, you have no idea who I am. I go to the gym 3 times a week. Yeah, I do have a Diet Dr. Pepper Diet Mountain Dew once in a while because, quite frankly, I could use the caffeine, and I have a very busy life. I've lost 15 pounds in the past year plus. And I am filming this having just come back from my Sunday bowling league. So my ass is not in this chair most of the time at all. It's really only in this chair to film these episodes. Sorry about the total amount of time you see me in this chair is probably the total amount of runtime on all of the End the Simpademic episodes there are out there. So, before you get snappy about any of that, just know that you lead a very active and busy lifestyle. And somebody else poses the question, well, that's not, you're overstating your own value to women. I don't think so. But not every woman's going to see that, and that I'm willing to accept. Because it's just the way we're built. And women, a lot of times, overinflate their own value. Or they get asked, what do you bring to the table? And they're like, well, I'm bringing me because I'm hot. No, we're looking for a little more than that. The type of women that I'm thinking of as far as who will show up in my life, and again, it'll probably come with me running from one place to another. But of course, she's going to be successful in her own right. Not going to be looking to be dependent on anybody, just like myself. Because I don't ever want to financially depend on any woman. It's why I declined a move back to my hometown in Texas that would have been fully paid by her. And again, as I mentioned in a different episode, all the rules as far as being in leagues or things like that completely disappear when there's a traumatic bond involved. And she and I have one from our high school days that is a very strong one. So all the standard rules about being out of my league or whatever, due to the fact that we endured common trauma together in the form of being raised by parents that were abusive or negligent. We had each other, and that's about all we had. And so, yeah, she monetarily is absolutely out of my league. Physically, she's way out of my league. Always has been. Ever since high school. So far out of my league that it was a possibility that even though I found out several years later that she actually did have feelings for me, but the possibility was so ludicrous, I never even considered it or even thought of it. She was just my close friend who I leaned on for so much during those years, and vice versa. She made the dance team just to get away from her hellacious parents, or stepmom, or in this case, mom and stepdad. And I had a similar situation, except I had a negligent dad and an abusive mother, a stepmother. We had each other, and that was all we had. So even though she was a dance team member in Texas, performing on the field on Friday nights, under the lights, she thought of me as something more special than I probably would have ever believed. More special than I would even give myself credit for now. I'm just a common man with a very uncommon story. We had a sermon today at church, about Jacob, who was a deceiver, as the book of Genesis described him. And I was just thinking to myself, you know what? My story is so off-the-wall outrageous that it's almost impossible to exaggerate it. The bottom line is that if you're making comments on my videos and being disrespectful, I have survived exponentially more than you. And honestly, when it comes to a potential missus, that's a big part of my value proposition. I can move heaven and earth for you as a woman because I have moved an exponential amount of it for myself. I'm not going to be saying that as some sort of a pickup line or some sort of a come on. In my case, it's true. Even staff at my church has sometimes considered me one of the oldest 53-year-olds that they've ever met. Because my traumatic background is so extensive that even placing me in a small group inside of a church is very difficult. Because what I bring is such a deep experience that if I'm in a group that's a little bit more social or lighthearted, it's probably a bit too much for them. I found out that in this case, with being placed in a small group at Eaglebrook, that's exactly what happened, by the way, this weekend. I don't think it has anything to do with that particular leader, or she being, any sort of overbearing character. My life experiences and background are just too deep for a lighthearted social group. Because I'm either going to always need something that is deeper, or I'm going to be offering something that's deeper. So anyhow, that is my proposition for any future woman. during my years in Fargo, North Dakota in the late 90s, I was always known as basically him. Because I was going through so much trauma with the International Churches of Christ cult that I was a part of. They told me that I couldn't speak to anybody unless I was spoken to first. Kind of like what you would tell your 6-year-old kid. Because of that, I had to learn how to make friends and connect on my own. And the gift I was given from that experience was so extensive that the list of people that I knew in Fargo Moorhead was so extensive that it kind of became a known statement that Jason can't fix everything or anything, necessarily for you, but he can find the person who can. That's how interwoven and tied in I was. The ICOC did not know any of this, although it's hidden in plain sight. I was him. The guy who knew people in places that you would never have expected just your typical average 26-year-old guy to know. Because I was forced to be that way. I have skills. I have people skills and things like that I've developed. I think are part of my value proposition to any woman out there. However, the question is it valuable to them? Not all of them. It is part of a value proposition, but not everybody cares about it or sees it that way. So anyhow, that's my rant for the night. Special episode from my online critics. Thank you for boosting me in the algorithm, thus resulting in other people coming back saying, how the hell did I get here? In their algorithm. So anyway, I think I saw it even in a Billy Ray Brandt video not too long ago. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Billy. She's basically like, you need your haters in the YouTube platform because they're going to boost your numbers and they're going to make you more visible in the algorithm. So in a sense, I owe these people a favor. And even if you don't want to be a hater, and if you have any thoughts on this, I do encourage you to also get in the comments below and let me know if you agree or disagree with any of this. I'm going to continue to do this, as long as I feel like I need to do it. It's not about the money. In fact, I'm definitely not. I can tell you with a straight face, I'm definitely not monetized at this point. With my 45 some odd followers, and even the last video being, relatively big on the hate comments, getting all of 78 views to this point. But that's okay, because I believe in what I'm doing. It isn't about the money. Although if it comes at some point, it would be very nice. I right now deliver DoorDash for the extra money. Oh, excuse me, it is late. It is 10:30 here in Minnesota. So I thank you. The haters are probably gonna make my dreams come true and possibly fill my wallet at some point. So I don't have to do that anymore. So I will probably owe you a big thank you live at some point. Anyway, this is Jason and the Simpademic. Been a fun Sunday night. I bowled like absolute horse crap tonight, but going through just the emotional weekend that I had. It's good to get out with, some of the guys there and just, bowl, jabber, talk, socialize, and have a good time. So anyway, haters can keep hating. I will appreciate all of you. Drop a comment below either way. Become one of my few followers. And I will definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much. Best wishes and prayers for everybody tomorrow as many of us go back to work on Monday morning. It's an office week for me, so I'll be commuting. Anyway, y'all, have a good week. Peace out, homies.